This is Ringler Radio, where you get all the latest news and information about structured settlements from Ringler Associates, the first name in structured settlements, helping injured people and their families since 1975. Ringler Radio is made possible in part by Allstate, American General, John Hancock, Liberty Mutual, MetLife, Mutual of Omaha, New York Life, Pacific Life, and Prudential. Now join Ringler Radio host Larry Cohen.
Well, hello and welcome to Ringler Radio, everyone. I'm Larry Cohen, head of Ringler Associates Northeast Operations, and we're coming to you today from beautiful downtown Newport Beach, California, and the 2013 Ringler Annual Meeting. Well, today on Ringler Radio, we're going to take a look at rated ages and their overall purpose in a conversation here with two important experts on the subject. But first, I'd like to welcome back one of my favorite Ringler colleagues, Teddy Snyder from Beverly Hills, California. Teddy's a certified structured settlement consultant and a settlement specialist. She's also been an attorney for over 30 years. Teddy helps parties fashion settlements for cases with catastrophic injuries to best meet the injured party's future needs which can last a lifetime. So, Teddy, welcome to the show, and we'd love to have you back here. It's great to see you again.
Always a pleasure.
Well, our special guest today is Misa Benson, Senior Structured Settlement Medical Underwriting Analyst with Pacific Life Insurance Company. Misa has been utilizing her nursing and medical knowledge in the field of underwriting since 1989 with Pacific Life. So, Misa, welcome to Ringler Radio.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're here because a lot of people, I'm sure, have questions about the whole concept of rated ages and how they come about when we send medical into companies like Pacific Life. So let's start with a definition for our listeners who may not be as familiar with the topic. What exactly is a rated age?
Well, a rated age is the adjusted age of a claimant based on that individual's medical history. So, when we provide a rated age for pricing purposes, we're saying that this person has a life expectancy of someone with that age. For example, if a 54-year-old had a condition which diminished life expectancy by 5 years, that person would have a rated age of 59.
Well, that's interesting. Now, does the condition need to be related to the actual injury or the lawsuit that we're dealing with?
No. The impairment or condition caused by the claim incident may not affect life expectancy, but the person may have other comorbidities. For example, diabetes, heart condition, tobacco use, alcohol abuse, street drug abuse, that all may affect life expectancy.
Well, we sure have seen a lot of that in our time. And what would you say is the purpose of the rated age?
A rated age is used when pricing structured settlement annuity quotes by structured settlement brokers like you and Teddy.
My job is to maximize the benefit to the claimant with the dollars made available by the defense. And a rated age is just one of the ways that I do that. The insurance industry generally uses statistics on life expectancy, which have been compiled into what's called a mortality table. Mm-hmm. A rated age is a pricing mechanism. And you keep hearing that word pricing, and I really want to emphasize that. Mm-hmm. It's a pricing mechanism based not on broad statistics that come from the government, for example, but on this claimant's personal, unique, customized medical history.
And I would also say that it's also based on what a medical underwriter in a particular life company, how they assess that individual's medical condition and how it relates to life expectancy. So tell us how a rated age gets created.
Well, the underwriter will review medical records submitted by structured settlement brokers, which may have an impact on a person's life expectancy. So the underwriter then calculates the rated age based on the proprietary formula, taking the individual's mortality risk and applying it to the mortality table.
You know, that gets back to what I was saying before, that the proprietary formulas that, let's say, Pacific Life uses may be different than some other life companies that they use. That's why when you send medical into various life companies, you may get different rated ages.
That's correct.
That's correct. What kind of medical records really make a difference? We tend to send in bundles of things, but I'm sure you don't like to see all of that. What's really the important stuff?
Well, the most useful medical records are current medical records completed by medical professionals like doctors and nurses with sufficient details of the impairment or injury. So we're looking for the big picture summaries or narrative reports. Handwritten notes by doctors or nurses or x-ray film results are not very helpful when evaluating records. We are looking for details of treatment and person's current functional status.
And I'll also say they better be typed because most doctors write, I can't even read what they write, so it's important to get typed information to you folks as well.
Correct, yes.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a quick break right now and be back in a minute with Misa and Teddy right here on Ringler Radio and talk more about rated ages. We'll be right back.
This is Ringler Radio from Ringler Associates, the leader in the structured settlements profession nationwide. Did you know that Ringler is involved in a third of all structured settlement cases in the country? Ringler Associates works with all the parties in a lawsuit settlement to find the best possible financial solution for the people involved. There's a Ringler Associate in all the major cities of the U.S. No one has more experience than a Ringler Associate. Check out our new website at www.ringlerassociates.com for the best information for claimants, legal professionals, and claims personnel, and to find the Ringler Associate nearest you. You can listen to all the Ringler Radio shows. Just go to ringlerassociates.com or LegalTalkNetwork.com and click on Ringler Radio and choose from almost 200 topics.
Welcome back to Ringler Radio. Glad you could join us. I'm your host, Larry Cohen, and joined today by my Ringler colleague, Teddy Snyder, and by Misa Benson, Senior Structured Settlement Medical Underwriting Analyst with Pacific Life Insurance Company. So, Misa, what changes have you seen in medical underwriting over your career?
Advancement in various treatments are providing a lower mortality risk than we had before for some conditions. For example, HIV positives are no longer a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we are seeing longer life expectancy with cystic fibrosis. So these people are living longer, and we take that into account when we are evaluating the rated ages.
And Teddy, how does the rated age get used by brokers like ourselves? How does it get used?
Most commonly, we use the rated age when quoting a plan where the maximum payment period is for as long as the payee shall live. So if we're quoting a certain plan, for example, for a child, for a minor, a 4-year college plan, a certain plan means there's a definite start time, a definite stop time, or it's a specific payment on a certain date. That doesn't have anything to do with life expectancy. So we don't use it in those kinds of cases. One of the most common ways these days where we use a plan that is life expectancy contingent is for funding a Medicare set-aside. Yeah. And I know, Larry, we've had lots of programs on Ringler Radio talking about Medicare set-asides. Federal law requires Medicare's interest to be taken into account so that Medicare doesn't pay for medical expenses, which were already compensated in the settlement. The Medicare set-aside provides funding for those future claim-related Medicare-eligible expenses for the period of the person's anticipated lifetime. So how are you going to know what that lifetime is? The rated age is invaluable in MSA cases to fund the MSA at a cost which is appropriate, taking the rated age into account, but doesn't overfund it given this person's unique medical history.
No question about that. In fact, by using rated ages and Medicare set-asides, you're able to reduce the amount of money that is utilized for that, and the claimant can maybe get some more in their pocket. So the rated age is a real equalizer when trying to reduce the cost of some of these future medical expenses. So I agree with you, Teddy, very much. So, Teddy, what else can you tell us about rated ages in light of the fact that this is information that may be somewhat surprising to a claimant? You know, a claimant finds out that they're 38 years old, but they've gotten a rated age of 61 or something because of the medicals. Do you ever share that information with claimants?
Well, just for that scenario you've just described, generally not. I mean, if they specifically ask us, I even try to tell it to the attorney and not to the claimant, because it's important to remember the rated age is a pricing mechanism. There's that word again. It's not a command from heaven. It's actually, and we've also talked about the fact that different life companies can come up with different rated ages. It's actually in the injured person's interest to get a high rated age, so it looks like they're closer to the end of life because that produces a better rate of return. They get a higher interest rate on their money. But we don't want people to psychologically latch onto a rating as if it were in concrete. And also it's important, and a lot of attorneys get hung up on this, the rated age doesn't constitute evidence in a case where a person's life expectancy is one of the issues.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I've had attorneys say to me, like defense attorneys, well, there's nothing wrong with this person and our position, that's our position. Well, I don't care. I'm just trying to get the best return on the dollar. Mm-hmm. Each life company seems to have their own philosophy about underwriting. Some always come back high, some come back low, and that affects who we often place with to get the best return on the dollar, although the company that has the highest rated age may not have the best rate of return. And that's because the rated age is actually an adjustment to the life company's basic cost for a lifetime plan. Remember, it's a pricing mechanism. That's all it is. At Ringler, we have access to all of the life companies. That's one of the benefits of using Ringler. So we can survey the entire market for the best return on the dollar to help get the case settled. What the claimant really needs to know is what benefit can be purchased for the available funds. And by the way, did I mention it's just a pricing mechanism?
I think you did that 3 times. But you can't hear it enough. And you're right about that. Certain companies, because their standard rates may not be quite as good, even though they have a better rated age, may still not be the best price for that individual claimant. So it's important to scour that market, look and see who's going to be best when you factor all those things into consideration. So, Misa, would you say that providing rated ages in light of everything we've just talked about is more of an art than a science?
Well, please keep in mind that the medical underwriting is not black and white. And that is why you may not always get the same rated age from one company to another.
Well, thank you, Misa, so much for joining us today. It's been very informative to have you, right from the life company's perspective, tell us about rated ages. Well, Teddy, it's been a pleasure having you as our co-host. And I think what Misa has talked about in terms of the kinds of information about rated ages is going to be very helpful to our audience out there who, as you know, sometimes questions that whole area.
Well, certainly our listeners, if they have questions about rated age and they're working with a structured settlement broker, go ahead, contact your Ringler Structured Settlement Broker. You can find us at ringlerassociates.com, and we would be glad to get you information to the fullest extent we can. We work with all of the life companies, including Pacific Life and people like Misa.
Well, that's terrific. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Teddy, and talk to you specifically, how would they do that?
Well, you can certainly do it through the website. As I mentioned, you can reach me at teddysnyder.com. My toll-free phone number is 888-734-3910. My email is tsnyder@ringlerassociates.com.
Thank you, Teddy. And if anyone wanted to get a hold of any Ringler Associate, go to ringlerassociates.com. They're all there. And also the website has a lot of terrific information, including information about rated ages that'll help you understand it. Maybe not as well as Misa explained it, but very well, we can give you some information on that, too. You should know that every Ringler Radio show can be downloaded from our website, ringlerassociates.com, ringlerradio.com, or legaltalknetwork.com. And, of course, you can find all the Ringler Radio shows in iTunes as well. And you can download them and stream them right to your earphones. And I want to thank you again, Misa, for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
And Teddy, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
It's been a pleasure. And for all of you out there, go make it a great day. Take care.
The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer. Thanks for listening to Ringler Radio. With over 1 million listeners, Ringler Associates, the first name in structured settlements. Visit ringlerassociates.com today.